So I just want to quickly talk about the a logo design process. So a logo design process involves anything from coming up with the idea, defining the components of a logo, to sketching the idea, and then moving on to making some digital concepts, picking the right selecting the right type of typography that you want to use, and then playing around on a digital form until you're completely satisfied with the end result. I want to take this sample to show you guys how to, how does the logo process may look like. So this is, for example, a logo redesign that was done for Yuki. Yuki is so I think it's a web development company. So this is how the final logo looks like, already done, digitalized. This is how the old logo used to look like. Okay, so final logo, this is how it looks like. Old logo, this is how it looks like. Okay, but if we start going backwards, how it all started, it started with sketches. So sketches look nothing finished. It's just a general idea and concept into that will help you determine which direction you want to take. So I can see here that there is a selection of different logo styles. So for example, this is like a shield or an emblem style. This is typography base only, or just focus on the 3 letters. Same here, just a word or letters representation. Again, we have like an emblem that's going on. It's like a shield. This would be a completely graphical representation of the company, so there is no typeface or typography involved. Same here, just a graphic. There's a little bit of letters here, so never mind. That's a combination of typography and graphics. So the designer and the client decided to go with these Yuki, which involves typography use and symbol as well, or graphical representation. So after you're done with the sketches design, then you move to another stage, which is selecting your typography. So up until this point was just the designer drafting some typography ideas, nothing too complex. It's just to have an idea, like, will they be stretched? The letters will be stretched. Would they be long? Will they be slim? Will they be, more close together or condensed? Would they be bold or light? That sort of thing. The designer already knows what's happening here. Like in his mind, he can picture it in the future time. But then once you take it to the digital world, then you want to start exploring some typography options. So here's, I guess, this designer, what he wanted to do is he wanted to use some serif in terms of the typography, right? And then these are different variations of what it could be used. I guess after talking to the client and seeing some options, to fully understand if this font would resonate with the brand's look and feel graphically, then they made a choice. I guess the selection was this one here. Now if we keep on moving forward, now we're going to see the direction that they decided to take. They remember in the first sketch they decided to use this some sort of like symbol here on the top with the letters UKE at the bottom, separated by a line. So if we go back to the sketches, it looks more or less like this. So they selected one concept and they stood and they continue exploring ideas within this concept. So at no point they will pass by later on down that timeline from this concept to a shield concept. So they will stay within these lines, but they can explore many possibilities. And so that's exactly what's happening here, right? So they made sure that they kept on track by keeping the typography at the bottom and throwing some sort of symbol, representative symbol on the top here, a lion's head or some sort of like abstract graphic. So after seeing all these variations, and I'm sure the designer probably did 1,000 more of these, it's just that you want to keep it simple and not too overwhelming so it can help you make a better decision. Then the designer moved into adding color. So after you play with the black and white version, if you're happy with the proportions of the elements of the logo, then you start applying some color. Now once you apply color, everything starts to come alive. So it looks more like the brand. It has that purple, it has that punch and that kind of thing. Again, after exploring all the possibilities in colors from black and white to the brand's color, they decided to move ahead with this type of design. And then in the end, you get an approval, and the approval is basically how the logo will look like. So again, this is basically the end result. And then if we go back, you'll be looking at a very raw concept. So as a client, I don't want you to be disappointed or not encouraged or to feel like this is not going to work, because there's a time for everything, and in a sense that it's a process. So do not judge a final product without exploring the idea up to the end. What you do have to have in mind is that once you select the components of a logo, then it's easier to take away than to add new components to a logo, because it pretty much brings you back to the drawing board. You don't want to do that because it will slow down the process, but again, depends on how everything is working out and the timeline, then you may have time to go from here all the way back to the drawing board. Again, you don't want to do that, but if it comes to going back to the drawing board, so be it. And this is how the final approval logo looks like. Now, I wanted to show you another sample. Let me see if I can pull this off. Just one sec. All right, so I want to show you this one here, guys. And basically to keep you guys with give you a perspective of how logos come to life after sketching some ideas. So the story about the Citibank logo was that the logo was developed actually during a meeting. So you're looking at a sketch on a napkin. So the designer, based on the conversation that they were having, he just started crafting some logo ideas. And sometimes it happens. You have great ideas, you sketch them out, and you cover all the concepts. All you have to do is digitalize it and embrace it. So this is exactly what happened with Citibank. Pinterest, I think we're very familiar with the brand. Again, it's just a simple use of typography, very nice, and handmade logo. So I guess it was letter made. And then we have the Nike logo. Again, when you look at the concept and the drafting of the draft of the concept, you may not really see it in the future, but once you start digitalize everything, it gives it a more vivid illustration of what it's going to be like, right? This is a logo evolution as well of Shell. I love New York. This logo is very famous, and this is exactly how the logo was drafted when the idea came into mind. ExxonMobil, Starbucks, same thing. This absolutely looks nothing like the final end logo, especially here, right? It looks horrible, right? But once you bring it into digitalization and you make it digital, then it takes another edge, right? Same thing with the MailChimp logo. Start as a little chimp, concept with a little bag that is delivering mail, and then it just kind of evolved. They started playing with typography, and here it's more like a happy chimp. And then they just, they expanded into sketching ideas, but the same concept. So you see a pattern, just making it better up until you're like completely satisfied with, the evolution of it. Firefox, also a little sketch here, and it goes and it has evolved with time. Same with Atari. same thing, just sketches, Applejack logo. This is a great representation. I mean, some people can't see it, but I don't know if you see the cat's face right here, and it has some goggles. It looks amazing. This is just a sketch, then the digital part. So this is just to show you guys what the process will look like. So if you're ever getting your logo design by someone, do not be afraid of taking a look of these sketches. It's hard, I know it's hard as a client to imagine where the logo could be like at the end, but the one decision that you have to make is take a, try to picture a concept, a draft concept, and then in the digitalization part, when you make it digital, everything can be done. It's going to be flat, it's going to be 3D, 2D, that sort of thing that can be added on to the computer. But once you take, for example, this CAD with these goggles or whatever, then you know that you'll be marrying this concept, and you will just make it better and better and better until you actually make it as a workable logo. Thank you guys.